Hey, folks,
Nice colors too.
yeah, exactly. We got green, blue, and red. Hey, folks, welcome to SVT time. It is Tuesday. It's another SVT time. I'm Dino Monoxilus. Dom, my ever faithful co-host, is here with me as well. You know our roles with Ampeg, so we won't go into that. But today we got and this is a long time coming. Uh, Mr. Pablo Stennett is joining us. I've been wanting to get Pablo on, but he's been so busy, and we're always crossing paths. But anyways, we're so happy to have Pablo here on SVT time. And Pablo, what's up, brother? How are you?
Hey Dino, what's going on, brother? I'm good. I'm good.
Oh,
Um, Enjoying being home with the family for a minute. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say you have. I know you've got some downtime here, and we're gonna catch up with what you've been up to and what you've been doing, and but a little bit of downtime is always good, you know.
Yeah,
Is
definitely.
that? I was gonna say. uh, Oh, all right. Are you home right? I'm looking in
I'm
the
home.
background. I'm looking
I'm
in the
home.
background.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
home.
Cool.
you see a face? Is that what you're about
Yeah,
to
I'm
say?
like, whose face is that in the background, or is that a
That
poster?
I think that's my son. That's Nathan and Jordan from their graduation stuff.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
mom's make Cookie does all this stuff
Yep.
when it's time for graduation. I don't know where she
Okay.
comes because I don't see anybody else with it. But
So for anybody that's watching, I was also commenting like we're the baseball cap academy today with you know
yeah,
Pablo. Actually, is that a Puma cap? Do you have a
yes,
logo on that?
it is a Puma cap.
There we go. All right,
Nice.
all right. And I'm in dire need of like tuition sponsorship, so I'm hoping Plymouth State will catch this video and maybe knock some money off my daughter's tuition. Oh man. Well, man, we've got so much to talk about, and like I said, obviously you and I we hang out when you're in town or when I'm in town. But let's bring everybody that's watching up to date and just kind of give us a little bit of background and on what you do and where you've been. So first of all, three-time Grammy award or multi-Grammy. Is it three times? Three Grammys? Five
Five.
Grammys.
Woo.
Dude,
But we're not counting that.
I cheated you out of two there. But man,
Yeah.
so um but most recently, and we're gonna kind of go backwards here, I guess, but most recently, well, actually just last weekend, you were granted a humanitarian award.
Yes.
For
Yes.
can you tell us something about uh, about what you support and your organization that you're behind that you started?
Yeah. Well, a few years ago, my family and I started a foundation called We Are Tomorrow Foundation. And it's basically just mentoring kids, giving them opportunity, you know, in various art forms, you know, just teaching them how, you know, to play an instrument or just helping them in whichever way we possibly can. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Growing up as a kid in Jamaica, if it wasn't for my dad being a pastor, I wouldn't have the opportunity to actually even maybe touch an instrument, a
Right.
guitar or a drum or keyboards or whatever it may be. So We Are Tomorrow Foundation, what we do is actually give kids the opportunity to, access, and with Dino's help too, because we've gotten stuff from Yama, guitars and basses and that kind of stuff. So just give them an opportunity and help them to foster and nurture their talent that sometimes they don't have the way in which to get
Yeah.
it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great.
Now, is this a are you global with this, Pablo, or is it US or Jamaica
Well,
or
we right now we're U.S. and Jamaica, you know,
okay.
and would like to spread it. You know, of course, more globally than anything else because there's so many kids that is in need of this kind of support and help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. Speaking of Jamaica, so you were born and raised in Jamaica.
Yes.
Your dad was a pastor.
Yes.
When, like, did the family move up to the mainland, or how did that happen? Like, what age were you when you moved to the States?
I was dating myself now. My first opportunity to be in American waters was, I think, 89. I think
Okay.
1989. I was playing on a cruise ship as a musician, a bass player.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first trip. And then fast forward, I moved to Los Angeles in 1992.
Okay. All right.
So coming here in the music industry and just the whole nine, working for the record company all the way up,
Yeah.
and doing the Vegas circuit. I was at the Mirage for a couple of years, but always a writer
Mm-hmm.
for different labels. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You pretty much you moved to LA. I moved to LA in 91, so you were there a year after I was, but I've since long got out of there for various reasons.
I said, do you feel like since '92 the industry's gone through like 3-4 complete, changeovers? Like, do you feel better about where it is now? Is there? I guess it's probably a mixed bag a little bit.
It is. I think the difference that we have now is that everybody has access to their own recording studio. Because back in the days, you had to book sessions, and studios was, you had to have some form of money to be able to afford the various equipment to just put your studio together.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, I was working with various artists and various record labels that we had some access to, good recording studios and stuff like that, But no, everybody has a studio. You have a laptop, you have a studio,
Mm-hmm.
You can actually start writing or doing a lot of pre-production on your own before actually going into a bigger room. Because I still do pre-productions at home, and it depends on how elaborate I want to get. If I need an on section or something like that, I might book a bigger room, or you need some live strings, you book a bigger room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some vocals I do at home. My son Brandon actually tracks his drums at home, and it sounds phenomenal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice.
Does it? He tunes the room like nobody else is. So that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
those are the opportunity I see different now than we used to have back in the days.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I remember back in like that time in LA, it was just the ADAT. And if you had an ADAT and a Mackie CR1604, that was your recording studio.
Yes, it was.
And
But
2 ADATs was like that was the bomb. Like
exactly. 3 ADATs was 24, 24
yeah.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
P and oh yeah.
So.
I all of that stuff. Actually, I probably still have some ADATs around. Because there's stuff that I probably have one in the studio now that I need to probably get some music from, but just I hadn't had the time to,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I like the sound of ADATs. I know that sounds weird, but maybe it's just the nostalgia baked in of like that's kind of when I started being in studios. But there's something cool about it.
It was it was that cross between the reel to reel, the 2-inch tapes, and what we have now. So that was the bridge between that digital audio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From the ADATs or the DA88s, back in the day. Yeah. And
that was
for the artist recorders too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right too. The DA88 was the Betamax of the ADAT, basically.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now we're really dating ourselves.
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
Do you still do as much writing as playing?
I haven't been doing a lot when it's called for. Then I get in the lab. But Brandon does. Brandon is in the studio at least once a week. He's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
so that's always good to hear. You know what I mean? But then sometimes we got to come in with our type of thinking. You know what I mean? And just kind of explain or advise or suggestion, make suggestion when we're allowed to, to say, okay, we can approach it from this standpoint, or we can do this from this standpoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that they do, as the millennials or a 26 years old,
Yeah.
music, I don't think they think like how we did back in the days.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes you just gotta remind. But he's a pretty good producer.
That's cool.
Very good, very good.
Well, he's got you as a role model there, Pablo. No, seriously,
Thank
it's
you.
funny. I was telling Pablo, like, in my downtime, if I'm scrolling, I get into a doom scroll almost every night. But if I'm scrolling, but no, if I'm on like TikTok or Instagram, at least once a night, I will see Brandon, started a live video, and I'm wondering, now that I know, I'm assuming he's probably in the studio doing a drum thing.
He's either in the studio or he's at a show.
Okay.
He streams all the time from
Yeah.
his show. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Well, so I'm gonna scare him one of these days, and Uncle Dino's gonna log in just spying on him.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. He love that too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
So, man, between splitting duties between bass playing live and in the studio, but you're also like you're involved in so many other avenues of your career, working with manufacturers, I know you did some work with Sony and PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like it as a bass player, and you've mentored me on a lot of this stuff and tried to push me along, but as a bass player, we get so ingrained in our regular routine of one, waiting for the phone to ring for somebody to offer us a gig, which is the
Yeah.
worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
Or two, you go out and you start digging for gigs, and promoting yourself as a bass player, or three, like you've done, and I know Dom does too, you start writing, you start producing, you start working with networks and manufacturers and how you can offer your services or your talents. Can you kind of give us just a little bit of insight on what you do in that respect, Pablo?
Yes. Well, when the game toward and this is based some of the answers um forward to Dom too. When the game changed a few years ago, we had to try and find some form of stability musically, and the gigs started to get less and less. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? The session work start to go down too, because a lot of people know, the computer era comes in, so they weren't calling as much live bass as possible.
Mhm.
I'm kind of blessed that I play keyboard as well, so I can also somebody can call me to do some keyboard stuff in the studio. So that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
But the game has changed so much where you're not getting the calls that you used to get before. So now you have to recreate and brand yourself. So now you become a brand ambassador for different companies and hope to, kind of create income streams by actually giving them ideas or creating the music for their commercials, or you get blessed to meet the executive from Sony PlayStation, and you ask questions and you have dialogue about, hey, are you looking for music for this game or that game or whatever it may be, and you get that opportunity because when you have conversation with people, you realize that their source of getting music is just from the web, and it's just
Yeah.
stock footage as they call it, or stock
Right.
music. No,
Yeah.
sometimes they want that original piece. So when you offer them the original piece, sometimes you have no more rights to that original piece.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
It's what they call a it's slipping me right now. They call it not work for hire, but they buy it right out.
Yeah.
So they own it moving forward.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then you can set your price, and if it's in line with their budget, and you also have to let them know that, hey, this piece of music can last you for another lifetime. A movie studio might hear it and want to use it, and they're gonna come to you, and you guys can work out the publishing together. But this is not just me selling my music for $5,000 or $3,000 or $10,000.
Yeah.
But this is asset for you moving forward.
Yeah.
You can reuse it again 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, and recoup, from that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if that answer the question, but it's just basically that you have to keep reinventing yourself and keep pushing, because even sometimes the tour gigs, I remember I used to be able, I've toured probably 8 months out of the year.
Right.
At 8 months become 6 months, then that 6 months become 4 months, then 2 months, then a month. You know what I mean? But so you always, have to keep pushing, keep creating income streams for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially
No.
with AI coming in now, it's a whole new challenge too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. That's that does answer the question, and it's true. It's we have to start, like you say, we need to create income streams for ourselves. We need to create opportunities instead of just sitting and waiting for the phone to ring, essentially, or you join a band and that band gets lucky and, things take off that way. But again, that's like playing the lottery. You got to create your avenue.
That's the truth. That's true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's, speaking of touring, I was going to say, so last time I saw you here in New Hampshire, you were on tour with Ziggy.
Yes. Yes.
So and I know you and Ziggy go back quite a ways in terms of working together and playing together. And then you had an involvement in the movie too, in the Bob Marley movie too.
Yes. Yes. Ziggy called me to work on the soundtrack when we were creating the soundtrack, which was last year, I think. So that was just an honor. I mean, being Ziggy's bass player for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Man, and I always have to kind of do my calculation based on Jordan's age, because Jordan wasn't even born yet when I started with Ziggy.
Okay.
Jordan.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know Jordan is 19, and I always put it. Oh, yes, I started playing with Ziggy a year before I started.
Yeah.
Jordan was born.
Yeah.
So fast forward to no, it was an honor just to get that call to work on that soundtrack. To recreate.
Yeah.
I mean, because Bobby is one of our idol, man.
Yep.
He's basically that voice that helped to put Jamaica on the map musically, to spread reggae. He actually made that thing reggae sound, go
Yeah.
global, so.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. That's now, I'm trying to, when did Bob pass away?
1982.
Okay.
Yeah, 1982.
Did you have an opportunity to meet him as a kid?
No, the closest I've been to Bob back then was when his funeral. I was in school,
Okay.
in primary school, I
Yeah.
think. And when they were transporting the funeral procession, had to pass my school.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I saw, but you'd always see him on TV and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, being Ziggy's bass player, man, you just like, this is Bob's son. This is
Yeah.
Bob's. It's an honor, you know. I
Yeah.
don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted. I really appreciate, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
that
and you
that baton, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And I've seen,
Yeah.
I've seen Ziggy a few times with you on bass, and
Yeah.
I've seen the movie several times actually. It's and please forgive me, but the first time I watched the movie, Rach and I watched the movie,
Yeah.
I couldn't understand anything because
Yeah.
they had it down.
Right.
And then Rach and I we were Netflix and chilling and we put it back on. She was like, "Yeah, but put subtitles on so we can understand." And seriously, it was like anybody that's watching the movie,
Yeah.
first of all, watch the movie. I know it doesn't go deep into the depths of the Marley story,
Right.
but at least gives you an idea of
Yeah.
his relationship and the impact he had,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and why what happened to him, with the
Man, he
shooting and whatnot.
was, and you know what, Dino, we as musicians, man, we are blessed to be able to be on stage, but a major part of it, man, is giving back, because we've changed so many lives, man, just being on stage.
Sure.
We've changed a lot of, we have made so much impact just being on stage, and some we know, some we don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a quick example, I was the bass player for Dino King, and Dino was signed to Sony at the time. And one of the things that we would always do was would go to Japan every year, and we would do the Blue Note. We would
Okay.
spend a month in Japan, and there was a family that would always come to the shows. I mean, they don't just come to one show; they come to every show. If there's an early show and a late show, they are both show
Wow.
because our music made such an impact on this particular family. And I remember it was around my birthday. We went, and the mother got up and she was speaking. They had a little birthday get together for me, and the lady actually said that Dinah's music has saved her life because she was contemplating suicide,
Mm.
and because of the songs and the impact of the music, it gave her. And they had a family. This was a
Yeah.
family that we looked at and thought this was just a perfect family, two boys, one girl, but we didn't know that there was other stuff going on,
Mhm.
probably
Yeah.
life or whatever, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just what we do as musicians, man, and producers. It really lifts. Can you imagine a world without music?
No.
I don't want to.
No.
Yeah.
Well, there's somebody keeps on posting, and friends of mine keep on posting these things on Facebook saying, you know, of all the people of all your friends, who would something related to music, like if you didn't have music, how many of your friends have you met through music?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I mean, I look at that and I think of like all of my friends,
Yeah.
like literally every single one of my friends that I have met that I consider I've met through music, through my career, through playing music, through appreciation
Exactly.
of music at concerts,
Right.
you
Exactly.
know, be a
Exactly.
lonely world without it.
Big time. Big time. Big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pablo, how did your paths cross with Ziggy?
My so our drummer, Santa Davis, who recorded with Bob. He was the drummer for Peter Touch. When I moved there in 92, I met Santa in 93. And we were playing for a group called Wailing Souls. Wailing Souls, the soundtrack on Cool Runnings
Oh yeah.
was featured. Wailing Souls was featured a lot on that.
Okay.
So they were in transition and changing bass players, and they called me. And Santa and I have been playing together from ever since. So fast forward to 2003, Ziggy's bass player at the time couldn't make the trip. And Ziggy had moved out to the West Coast, moved out to California. And he wanted to put a team together here. And Santa called me, and the rest is history. So
that's cool.
And we've just been cool ever since.
Yeah.
It's just a testament to you never know.
If it's Dino, I must say, I probably would be touring with Jimmy Cliff.
Oh.
Yes. Because I filled in for a bass player. At the time, I was still with Diana. This was 2002, going into 2003. And I had to fill in for this bass player with Jimmy. And Jimmy just fell in love with my playing and offered me the gig to tour with him. And I was like, okay. And actually, I told him I couldn't actually, because I was just filling in for a bass player, and that's the brotherhood of bass players. That's something that you don't want to do. You don't want to, take anybody's gig. So I said, no, I'm just filling in for this friend of mine, and it's all good. And he's like, no, but I really like you and want you to come and play and like your style, your personality, and all that stuff. It's like, when I I was grateful just to get the compliment, because Jimmy's a legend, man.
Yeah.
So I did 1 week or maybe 10 days, never had an official band rehearsal. The rehearsal that I did was in the hotel room with the MD, with the musical director. I think it was Wayne Harmon. Wayne had a band called Chalice, which did some really good work back in the days too in Jamaica. It was two good bands back then. Third World and Chalice was popular, good bands, playing hip stuff and more crossover reggae, the new era of reggae. So Wayne just was working out all the bass parts with me, and that was it. Went on stage and hit it,
and just hit it.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun too. Yeah. So
I gotta say, like, reggae is one of those styles of music that you have to grow up playing it and listening to it. I mean, and I'm not like as a Greek boy playing reggae music. I mean, I can pass off a decent reggae line, but anybody that knows the music is going to say it's a Greek boy playing reggae. you know what I mean? Like,
also, there's an intricate study of the space of the pocket. Yes. You have to study it. There's
in any style of music.
Amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, in any style, like blues, it's like, you want to play blues, you've got to be, it's something that you have to have been growing up listening to. Like, again, Greek music. I bet you neither one of you can play Greek music.
I bet you I can't.
Not that there's a big market for Greek music, but you know what I mean? It's like, I remember, like, in a lot of top 40 bands, a lot of working bands that I'd be with, they would call a Bob Marley tune, or they would call, just, and I'd be like, all right, man, I'll do my best, but it's just one of those styles of music. Latin music is another, just off the charts. Like you almost have to be, I don't want to say born into it, but it's just going to be ingrained into your DNA.
Yeah,
you
agreed.
know.
Which kind of vibes with this question by Cameron from Australia. Hello, Cameron, by the way, who is asking what drew you towards the Ampeg sound as a bass player. So coming from, like, you have all of the DNA of and listening and just being born into the reggae thing. Why Ampeg, I guess, from any other sound?
Ampeg, to be totally honest with you, Ampeg, that's what they were using back in Jamaica. Bob Marley's bass player, family man.
Yeah.
He was a SVT dude with the tubes, and you need 2 people or 3 or 4 to lift that up on the train. You know what I mean? He was still using it, until he stopped playing a few years ago, But SVT had that, because reggae is that, we're talking about that you have to have that bass, you have to have that low end, you know what I mean?
It's that fatness.
Exactly. And that's what SVT represent. You know what I mean? It wasn't the funky stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't the slapping and all that stuff. It was more that bottom end that you needed, because that was the part of the reggae song, and that still is a part of the reggae song.
Yeah.
We just tried to change it up a little bit and add some stuff to it, but that's that reggae sound.
Yeah.
You hear the notes, but you're hearing that depth,
that ultra low,
that presence and that clarity. Yes.
Yeah. The fundamental. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, because that's Family Man jazz bass into an SVT was pretty much his rig and his sound, and which I getting back to the movie real quick, which what I really appreciated in the movie was they actually, they called out each of Bob's band members by name. It wasn't like these ambiguous players that, and if I'm not mistaken, was it Junior that played his dad in that movie? Was it?
No.
That wasn't. Oh, okay.
Junior's son is in it though. Junior Marvin.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, Junior Marvin's son actually plays guitar in the movie.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
He's a guitarist in the movie.
Okay. All right. But yeah, it was, and the jazz bass with an SVT there, that was the sound. Yeah. So, you recently made a change yourself from, for the last number of years, you've been using Pro Neo cabs with 4 Pros, and just recently you get to try out some of the new Venture stuff.
Yes.
And of course, if the boss likes it, meaning Ziggy, for live stuff, then it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, because Ziggy is a detailed kind of musician.
Yeah.
He hears everything. So if that rig is not 100%, he's gonna be like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But also, Ziggy's one of those people who, man, there's some songs that it's gonna call for some slapping.
Right.
It's gonna take. He wants to hear some harmonics. He wants to hear all of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the Neo Pros, man, was solid. We worked them Neo Pros. Dino, I don't even remember how long we had those Neo Pros.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So like 2009.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We had 4. We had 2 of the 410s and 2 of the 15s, and that my rig for maybe 10 years.
At least 10 years. Yeah.
10 years. But when I heard the new Venture stuff, man, and I kid you not, and I refuse to mention some other brand names, but this just kills it.
Yeah.
I just used it on these two last gigs that I just did, and we did some disco stuff and stuff like that and slapping stuff. Man, the response is like perfect. I mean, the definition, the clarity, the depth, the low end, it's just so amazing. I,
Cool.
I don't even know what to do, man.
No, I love to hear that. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime we're going into anything new, it's really tricky for me too, because growing up on the Ampeg sound, it's like sacrilegious to think like, oh, we're gonna blow Pro Neo out of the water or anything like that. And I would report back to Dino, and he's just like, how are you even saying this? And like with the Venture series, and especially with the VB88 too, compared to an 810, or like the 410s compared to the Pro Neo 410s or whatever. I'm like, Dino, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, I don't think I'm gonna ever play those ever again. Like, it's all Venture for me. And he's like, what do you like? What? I don't believe that. And then you came in and heard him, but like, yeah, that's really happy to hear that.
Yeah, I was blessed by Dino. That's why I love this guy so much, man. I call on him, he's gonna answer, you know. And you guys sent over the Venture. I think the 1500 is that's the head.
The V12. Yeah, the V12.
Yeah. And 210 cabinet, man.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I'm not gonna be that bass player who's not gonna show up to the gig without my rig.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't care where technology is going. They're saying, oh, you can just plug directly into the system and we give you some in-ears, or we send the feed to your in-ears. It's not the same. It will never be the same.
Yeah.
If you're a true bass player, you want to feel that. You want to feel it, especially playing reggae music. You want to feel it, and you want to hear the definition and the clarity and the presence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's funny. Like this gig this weekend, the only people had monitor or wedge on the stage was my son, the drummer. You know, he's playing acoustic drums, and myself. And I was like, you know, and the guitarist, who was my cousin, keeps showing up to the gig without an amplifier. It's not the same. It doesn't sound the same.
No.
You
know? Yeah.
It doesn't sound the same.
Yeah.
So when you use the 210s, so they each have a horn. Do you have both horns on typically when you're playing?
Yes.
Nice.
Because I want to hear that presence, you know.
Yeah.
Clarity. Yeah. And of course, the definition. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the horns in the Venture cabs aren't like really obtrusive. They're not overbearing. Like, it doesn't sound like a horn. It just sounds natural.
Yeah. And it gives you that true, not like back in the days with our cabinets that I used to use. You could sweep from 0 all the way around to 100, you know. You could dial it in, but then those you could hear that in the horn.
Yeah.
No, these Ventures, no, you don't hear that. You know.
Yeah.
The response is just perfect, though.
Yeah. And that because you're using the 210s, you're also getting 4 ohms instead of 8 ohms, so you're getting the full power of the head, and and it's easy to carry.
And tell me about that, big time. And it fits in my trunk.
Yeah, right. That's just it.
And they're lightweight. And what you get from it, you're just like, wow. Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Well,
that's
and you're one of the. I was going to say you're one of the first adopters of the Venture stuff too. Like when we launched it, you were one of the first people in line that were like, "Yeah, I'll definitely take it and try it out." And you know, I think
first gig Dino was on Jimmy Kimball.
I was going to say that's right.
Yes. It was It was right.
Yeah.
Right, brother. And
Yeah.
no, I gotta get this. Yeah.
And of course, here I am sending prototypes. They weren't prototypes, but they were units from in-house, Dom. The units that we sent for Pablo for the Jimmy Kimmel show. And I'm just like, that whole day, I'm like sitting there on the computer, looking at my phone, saying, "Please don't ring. Please don't ring. Please don't ring. Please don't
I
ring."
tested them early.
No, it wasn't even that. It was more of Pablo calling saying, "Hey, dude, yeah, the boss ain't digging the rig." That's sort of, like I was like,
That was the first kind of out in the wild experience with those.
Yeah, rehearsal. We had it for 2 days in rehearsal, Dino.
Yeah.
2 days in rehearsal, and then we got on set, man, and it was just so right because I have that SVT preamp too.
That's right. Yep.
And I was like, I think I asked Dina. I said, Dina, do I need to use a preamp? And he's like, no, it's the same thing in the amplifier.
Yeah.
And trust me, I was like, man, it's just so amazing. Oh yeah, I'm like a kid in a candy store, just scooter, man, or bike. Yeah.
Well, cool. I'm glad you're digging it because it's caught on. More and more people are taking them out on the road and trying them out, and
we knew it would be. I was gonna say we knew it'd be a little slow ramp too because the success of Pro Neo and SVT Pro, and then we're kind of getting into a new space where Ampeg is known for, like you're talking, the rite of passage. The behemoth SVT heads and everything sound incredible, but weigh a ton. So we're trying to get that sound in something smaller, and it's always a risk when you're like, wait a second, that's so drastically different from what we're used to. But it seems like it's catching on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's slowly but surely. It's rite of passage, and it's not something that Ampeg has been entirely known for. And in the past, when we have done small and lightweight stuff, it didn't necessarily fit people. Like it was a great product, but it was the wrong product for that time, sort of thing. So, but yeah. In fact, I'm taking my Venture rig out this weekend, and I'm playing it. I have a casino on Friday and a wedding on Saturday, so I'll be using Venture on both.
Nice.
So,
what are you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, what are you going to do the same rig per show?
No, probably because the casino is a bigger venue. I might experiment and use the 112 and 210. Because I don't have two 210s or two 112s, so I'll split them. And then for the wedding, I could actually get by just using in-ears, but it's funny. Speaking of in-ears, Pablo.
Yeah.
So the singer, the female singer for this wedding group, I mean, you close your eyes, you listen. She sings Whitney like nobody's business.
Wow.
And the first couple of gigs I did with them, I didn't bring a rig. And she came over to me. She was like, "Hey, hon, do you think you could put a bass amp on stage?" I was like, "Yeah." Like I just wanted to hug her, like a singer asking the bass player to put a rig. And she said, "When I'm singing that Whitney stuff, I gotta have that, like any of the R&B stuff, I gotta have that behind me."
Yeah.
That sound, I can hear you in my in-ears, and I was like, I'm looking at her going, "You sure you're not like a bass player?" Because we're on the same. But anyways, getting back to the original, that not just bass players, but musicians, we want to hear that stuff on stage. We want to feel it on stage. We just don't want to listen to a pristine mix in our ears all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean, even touring with Ziggy, my rig has gotten smaller because I've always had 4 cabinets.
Yeah.
4 cabs on stage. But no, we're using in-ears. My cabinet has gotten smaller.
Yeah.
I'm happy about it, to be totally honest with you. Ziggy, I'm not happy. I want my 4 cabinets, because it's just something that you feel. But no, what I've done differently now is like for Ziggy, I use 2 410 cabinets.
Yep.
And I've put them flat, instead of stacking them.
Yep.
So when I put them flat, now I can feel the low end, because I'm wearing ears. So but I can feel the low end,
Yeah.
pushing the way in which I wanted to push.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. If in fact, if anybody's wondering, look at Pablo's profile picture for this live stream. That's actually the venture rig that you're using. It's the 2 410s with the V12s.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cameron asked a question here: fresh flats, or I'm not sure.
Dead rounds.
Flat
Or dead.
round?
Or dead rounds. Yeah.
Oh, for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Give me some nickels, man, because I can't. I tried it.
Yeah.
I tried it a couple of years ago. Ziggy wanted some flat wounds, and we tried it. We even tried slapping on flat wounds. No.
I imagine it doesn't have the sustain you probably need.
No.
Yeah.
I have flat wounds. I have flat wounds on my fretless. That's it. No.
Yeah.
No. Is that flat wounds?
These are flats on my MTD. Yeah.
Great sustain on that base.
Oh gosh, Dino. Man, I loved you up until now, man.
I've gotten so used to the flats on this thing that it's like I'm starting to put flats on more and more bases.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
It's weird, man. I have it's per base for me. Like this one, I always get that wrong. This one over here, it sounds so weird with round wounds. It's like needs flats only, but I would never do that to this other base over here. It's like that thing's like loud rock sustain kind of thing. But yeah, I got 2 bases with flats, but I can't do any more than that.
But on my Saratoga, I have, so when I take this and I take my Saratoga out to most of my gigs. So this has the flats and then the Saratoga has the rounds. So I switch between them. But it's a really weird feeling. I have no problem going from rounds to flats. It's when I go from flats back to rounds that it's like, ooh, wait a second, there's a little bit of spice to them.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Haji's saying he loves the V7 on 2 SVT 210 AVs. I've seen that a lot too. Stacked vertically. Nice. I think John Button also stacks those vertically for his rig.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's what he's been using. And I've been seeing more players using a V4 or even an SVT on top of 2 210 cabs.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I
love it.
Let's see, Paul.
That MTD, man, playing through the venture is just so. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a sick rig. The sound is just absolutely, yeah. I gotta call Michael Dino and tell him, man. Yeah. I'm pleased.
I've actually got to take a drive out there, and he's got one of my bases, and he's had it for a year now. It's a long story, but I had dropped it off to him to make it fretless. And he called me up and he says, "Yeah, man," he says, "that we're just going to build you another base. We'll build you a fretless." And I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, Mike, give me some time to sell some things off so I can. He's like, "Oh yeah," he says, "don't worry, it'll be at least a year." And it's been about a year now, so I'm waiting for the call because he has the base that I dropped off so that he could make fretless.
Yeah.
On top of the fretless that he's supposedly building too. So I'm sure I'll have a post there pretty soon about 2 new bases.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm ready for a new base myself too. I gotta call Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you collect any vintage bases, Pablo?
Oh, so I have my first 5-string Fender jazz bass. I
Okay.
think one of the first ones they've ever made. I still have it. I got that bass in 1989.
Okay.
Maybe 1990, but I bought it. It was in a music store, I want to say in Miami, and I saw this black 5-string bass Fender. It was the first time they're coming up with 5 strings, and I got one.
Okay.
That's cool.
All the keys are on top. The key, they
That's-
don't have
That's
on
something
the,
that's
Yeah.
yeah, it's all the keys on top. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I wonder if it's the
I
same one.
still have that.
You
Yeah.
still have it?
Still have it. Yeah.
Similar to this guy.
Yes. Yeah.
American Deluxe, yeah. Love this thing. The studio, this thing's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then Fender, because I had an endorsement deal with them, and then they send me a jazz bass, which I use on a lot of recordings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I use that and my Ampeg rig.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's that sound that just yeah. If it doesn't, you're still getting that presence, the definition, and that clarity, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's that marriage that I don't think anybody can separate it. The Fender bass with that SVT,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's it's been on so many recordings that even like non-bass players, I know what a bass is supposed to sound like because they've heard that on so many recordings and so many live recordings and so many concerts that it's just kind of become the sound of what
Yeah.
most people expect,
Right.
Yep.
So, and when they don't hear it, it's something different, or it's, something's not right when they don't hear that sound.
Yeah.
I remember my old man, like my dad, an old Greek truck driver, would come out to my gigs on the few occasions that he would come out. After the show, he'd come up and he'd be like, "Hey kid, bass sounded good tonight." I'm like, "How do you know what a bass is supposed to sound like?" He's like, "You don't think I've been listening for the last 25 years? You pounding away in your bedroom on a P bass and
Right.
but just, he knew what a bass was supposed to sound like. And
Mhm.
he knew if I was playing like shit or if I wasn't playing like shit. And he definitely called me out on that too. He's like, "Had a rough night tonight, huh?" Yes, Pop. Okay. So what pickups are on my MTD? They're not Bartolini's. They are actually those are Kerry Nordstrands. They're Nordstrand big blades. I did something very sacrilege. I pulled out the traditional Barts.
Oh.
And I had Kerry Nordstrand big blades, and then this is actually a Nordstrand preamp. So what I'm doing is I'm running volume for the bridge, or volume for the neck, volume for the bridge, treble, bass, and then passive tone control, and then passive active switch.
Nice.
So
does Michael know about that?
He does. Yeah, he does. Anybody that knows Michael, it was like that. That was getting the okay from the Godfather that you can mess with one of his creations, sort of thing.
Right.
I still have all the electronics and everything, but
I have the Bartolinas in one, and I think I have some other pickups in another.
Yeah. It was just I needed something for April's gig. I needed something more aggressive. And the Barts, as great as the Barts are, they weren't as aggressive as I needed them to, and I wanted to play that bass on April's gig.
Yeah.
So that's why we did it. But
so let me ask you this: how long has you have that? That's not the fretless, right?
No.
Okay. So does Dom know the story about me sending you the song that you played on that I produced?
I don't know if I told him or not yet.
Dom, he needs to tell you that story. I'm actually playing keys. My son is playing drums. So Uncle Dino is actually playing with Brandon, and
Nice.
he's playing bass, and I'm playing keys on this song that I produced for a band called Reviva, in New Mexico. And I just send the track to Dino, and man, let me tell you something. I didn't have to tell him what to play. He played the perfect bass lines for this song.
Nice.
I couldn't. There was nothing to change. There was nothing to edit. There was nothing to call him back. Man, Dino, you gotta. We do another take? No, it was one version, and
that was it.
And it printed. It was so.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think he used a fretless.
I did.
Yeah.
It was. I still have it back here. I'm kind of locked into my space here, so I know if I get up, I'm going to be knocking microphones and stuff over. But it's a 5-string alembic fretless that I have back there. That
I didn't even know you had that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one day, Dom, you should. I'll give you a copy of that song, brother.
Yeah, that's high praise. That's
really,
great.
Oh yeah, I had to.
I'm still honored. I remember recording it, and Rachel was asking me, anything I do in the studio, she's always like, "What's that?" And I said, "Pablo asked me to record bass on this song for him." She was like, "Isn't he a bass player?" I was like, "Yeah, he's a really good bass player." So I'm a little nervous about not just laying down a bass track, but laying down a fretless track. He's gonna have the auto tune out.
That was his idea to lay down the fretless. I didn't tell Dino nothing what to play. And when I say that the track is perfect. People should go download that song. It's called "It All Runs Down" by Riva.
Download the whole album.
The whole album, yeah. It's a real
today.
It's actually my son's first time recording a full album, and we threw him in the studio, and he did phenomenal.
Yeah.
The reggae band out of New Mexico called Reviva.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing too, because I remember it wasn't a reggae track.
Yeah,
because I'm like, there's no way Pablo would call on me to play a reggae track.
I didn't know what to play on it. I didn't know what to play. I didn't, and the bass player for Reviva, he didn't know what to play either. You know what I mean? So I was like, don't worry about it. I got it.
Yeah.
Then Dino killed it. Killed it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
I was just gonna say I grew up in a musical family with my uncle, and my cousin plays drums for me now, and I will never forget the first record that we did together in the studio and what that felt like. So your son's got to be so excited about that, and I know with your foundation and what you do with music and changing people's lives on stage, but even just your own family, man, that goes a long way.
Man, let me tell you something, man. I think one of the best feelings I have today is being able to play bass beside my son.
Mm-hmm.
He's like that perfect drummer for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And where he's at today, at 26 years old, I wasn't there. I was a good bass player because I've been playing since my dad's church and stuff like that. I was considered that dude in my city, Spanish Town, you know what I mean? Because of course, but you only played in church, but your name was around the city because of the stuff that you would do and the stuff that you could do and the amount of time you committed to practicing.
Mm-hmm.
So where Brandon is today, I was like, me and my cousin, who we played together all the time, Chizzy, who was a guitarist, and that's another story. But he's a guitarist, my favorite, and we're just sometimes Brandon does some stuff on stage, and we looking at each other. We like making faces like, ooh. You're feeling it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just where he's at today, and talent wise,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we were okay, but the boy is good.
Well,
He's good.
oh no,
Yeah.
and I will say this. I know Brandon. He's an astounding young man too. Like
Thank you, brother.
no, like if if we weren't 3,000 miles apart, I have a feeling I would have introduced one of my daughters to Brandon at this
No,
point.
I love
Eh,
it.
but seriously, no,
I
he
love
really
it.
is. He's
I
such a
love,
good kid.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is, man.
Yeah. But given, also, and not to take anything away from Brandon or kids of this generation too, but they have a lot more available to them
Yeah.
Mhm.
in terms of resources than what we did, obviously.
Mhm.
But there's pros and cons to that too. So sometimes you take it for granted, and sometimes you don't. But yeah, obviously you being Brandon's dad, I'm sure some of that raw talent also rubbed off on him too. Is in his DNA. That's why when you're playing bass with your son, who's the drummer, I'm sure there's some sort of DNA connection in there. Like
He knows me. Yeah. He
you
knows.
Yeah.
know,
He knows me. He knows.
it's beyond the nuts and bolts and the quarter notes and half notes sort of thing. It's
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
He knows me, and he's been around me from day one. There's still baby pictures that I have, that I used to put headphones on Cookie's belly when she was pregnant with Brandon.
Yeah.
And then when he was a baby, I'll be playing my bass while he's laying on his back.
Yeah.
He couldn't even roll. He was just a few months old, but I'll
Yeah.
be playing, maybe just learn the songs I'll be playing. So just to see him pick up the drums at the age of 3, man, it's a
Wow.
it's a good feeling.
That's so
I
cool.
was hoping that Nate would play bass, because me and Cookie, we still have this discussion of where does Nathan get his name from.
Okay.
Nathan East used to be my favorite bass player. Nathan East,
That's
because
cool.
of Nate. And I actually, a funny story. Brandon was having a rehearsal here a few months ago, and I'm in on the other side of the house, but I'm hearing this amazing keyboard player, and his approach to everything was just ridiculously sick. This kid can play some keyboards. And I was a little bit nosy, and I walked down to where they were rehearsing, and I just walked straight in the rehearsal, didn't even say hi to anybody, and I doubled my fist and I pounded the kid. I just gave him my fist, and we did this, and I walked out. And the bass player said, "Oh, the bass player called me Pops." He's like, "Yeah, hey Pops, this is actually Nathan." If I know Nathanese, I say, if I know Nathanese, I know more about Nathanese than you, because you're younger than me.
Yeah, right.
He said, "That's Nathanie's son." I went over back and I gave the kid another pound.
Wow.
I've been seeing him playing with his dad
Yeah.
for the last several years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This kid is ridiculous on keys, man. Ridiculous.
Wow.
So anyway, fast forward to now. We always have this discussion on where does Nathan, my middle son, gets his name from. I claim I gave him the name from Nathan East, the bass player. Nathan is my favorite bass player. Just we Foreplay, remember the album Foreplay
Sure.
with Larry Carlton and Lee Ritton and all of them, RV Mesa, and then Nathan Verdine actually had Nathan play bass on an album that I don't know if Verdine was just not available for that album,
Yeah.
It has my favorite song called "We Can Touch the World" on it.
Huh.
It's a gospel crossover Earth, Wind and Fire album with that Nathan East is playing on. But Nathan was that dude. Nathan used to play for Al Jarreau.
Yeah.
And back in the days, and you guys know this, Dom, I don't know if you're old enough to even understand this part of it, but I'm going to say it anyway. We used to buy albums and look who the musicians were on the back of the album.
Yeah.
We used to look who was getting the credits. Wrong or right, Dino?
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. So
Absolutely.
you look at the back of the album and you're like, oh, Nathan East is on this. Steve Gadd is on this, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that would make you want to get the album just because of that reason.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So Nathan back then on the Al Jarreau's Live in London, all that stuff. I used to swat everything that Nathan does.
Yeah.
Because his approach to recording, Nathan can run up and down if he wanted to. But his first 32 bars on that album, on that song, he would just groove.
Yeah.
And then when it comes on to the second chorus, then you hear a little bit more. So by the time the third verse comes in, or the second verse, now you're hearing some little stuff. You're hearing harmonics, you're hearing little twingles, and whatever. That was Nathan East.
Yep.
So I don't know. I still got to have this discussion with Cookie about who gave Nathan his name. I'm holding my side of the story. And she said it's she or my sister-in-law, Kelly. But I don't know. I think Nathan was, like I said, my favorite bass player. So I thought,
Well,
awesome.
you're gonna catch it for this later, because if she watches it, she's gonna see she wasn't here to defend herself. But you're right. That's why Nathan is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, because he's just so smooth. And I mean, when you've got a project on the line and studio time on the line, and I mean, there's so many reasons why Nathan works, and he's just such a super nice guy too. But which we still got to talk.
I've not met him yet.
You've not met Nathan?
No, we've met in passing, like, what's up, brother? And we
yeah. Okay.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
And we got to talk about a Nathan East bass, because I know we've talked about that in the past too. The Yamaha NE, is it an NE2 or NE5 or?
I'm still waiting for it.
Dom's going to get you one.
All
Hey, Dom. Thank
right.
you.
I'm
still waiting on it.
Hey, listen, I didn't realize, like, we've gone way overtime on this, but this is what happens when we're talking. I always say this is the conversation that we can never have at NAMM, because you're always getting, pulled in a million different directions. And we can never, we can have it backstage. Like I said, the last time you were up in New Hampshire and we were at Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion, I will say Pablo holds the world record at Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion for most oysters eaten in one sitting. I'll just leave that there. So.
and a lobster roll.
And the lobster rolls.
Yeah, and a lobster roll. Yeah.
But we've got I do have a. I was gonna say, does that mean knocking stuff over?
So this is my son Brandon. Here's Brandon now.
B-man,
the drummer.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, Dino?
How are you, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. I keep on threatening your dad that one of these days, I'm always seeing you go live on social. I'm going to sneak in one of these times and just scare the heck out of you.
All right. And he actually, Dom, he loves the Yamaha kit. Yeah. He's been in my ears. He's like, Dad, you got to talk to Dino.
Nice. Yeah.
I want to start playing Yamaha. So
cool.
Just letting you know, okay?
We
sorry to put you on the spot, but that's what he said.
No. We know a couple of people over there that we can. Cool, man.
Nice to meet you.
All right, nice to see you guys. And he's on his way to rehearsal. He's
nice.
He's a hardworking musician, man. He's always gone.
He's always working, man. That's
Always.
you know, and he knows the angle. Like he knows social media. He knows that whole side of the business now too. So
he knows songs.
yeah,
He knows songs. That's the thing.
yeah,
We're not just talking about songs that came out yesterday.
yeah.
This kid knows songs, and that's one of the things about a good musician, man, is being put in situations that I don't think I've played all the songs that I've played, because I've been put in some situation. Do you know the song? No, I've heard it. Well, keep doing it then. You know what I mean? But you just know what to do and how to do it. But he knows a lot of songs, man. So
yeah.
That is huge. My uncle would tour, man. I'd started playing with him in my 20s, and we'd be in front of like 5,000 people at a festival, and then he'd just call out Beatles songs that I had no idea how to play. And those are like also just not easy bass songs to begin with, and I'm just like terrified. And you'll be fine. You'll get up. Like, no, I don't think so, man. I don't think it works that way.
You'll hear it.
Yeah, exactly. You'll hear it.
You'll hear
it.
Yeah.
And if you didn't the first time, you'll hear it on the second time around.
I know. They just did that to me too. I was like, really? Don't throw me in no situation like that.
Out of all instruments too, it's like you got to be on one typically. You're defining the chord typically. It's like
This last tour I was on, and I loved the gig. It was such a fun gig, blues gig, but there was no set list. Like every night, and I'd ask him, I'd say, "Hey man, is there a set list?" Nah, man, we don't do set lists. This is a blues gig. And then not only was there no set list, like he would start the song, and not like it was me, bass, drums, B3 player, and then Albert on guitar. And he'd start the song, wouldn't say what song it was, wouldn't tell us a key. And it was like, I mean, talk about being on your toes. But I mean, thankfully, most of his songs were in 3 keys, either E, A, or G. So it wasn't like, you had a 30% chance of getting the right key anyways. But it's like E, no, G, oh, E, D, E. And there, he was so loud that in your ears, you couldn't distinguish what key it was in, sort of. Which kind of played to my benefit, because if I started the song in the wrong key, nobody was going to hear it anyways, because it was just like.
Is he watching this right now?
I don't know. Right? But he may be, but
you'll find out.
Yeah, no, that, like I said, it was a great, and I'm not complaining about it. It was a gig that you just gotta just fasten your seatbelt and stay on your toes and just listen, but that I actually preferred that more than somebody coming out and saying, "Hey, do you know this tune by Luther Vandross or by, Wings?" And you're like, I don't, I really don't know it. Like somebody called Through the Fire by Shaka Khan at the wedding gig last weekend. I know the song. I've heard the song a million times. I've never played it. And it's not an easy song to wing, because there's a lot of hits and all I could say is thank God for the keyboard player's left hand, because he just kind of looked over. He goes, "You never play it?" And I was like, nope. He goes, "I got you." So I've just now before we got on this call, because I know I'm going to play it this weekend. It's like, all right, I got to chart this thing out. Because, anyways, listen, we gotta get running here. But I've got 11 quick questions that I'm going to ask you. It's kind of like, we call it Dino's quick 10 or rapid fire. So I'll ask you a quick question. You got to give me the answer that first comes to mind.
Okay.
And we'll move on from there. And they're easy, kind of.
Okay.
All right. First question, P bass or jazz bass?
Jazz bass.
Okay. Active or passive?
Active. Okay.
Rounds or flats?
Rounds.
Reluctantly. B15 or SVT?
SVT.
Okay. Cable or wireless?
Cable.
Okay. pick or fingers?
Fingers.
Okay. In-ears or floor wedges?
Floor wedges.
Okay. Pedals or no pedals?
No pedals.
Okay. Now getting into the travel side of thing. Window or aisle?
Aisle.
Okay. High bunk or low bunk?
Low bunk.
Okay. And then last question, talking about Ampeg Cosmetics, black with white piping or the anniversary silver and blue?
The anniversary.
Okay. All right. That's it. That is, yeah.
He's the quickest of all people answering.
Yeah. Yeah, really. That, I mean, very definitive, like, absolutely.
Wireless, no wireless. No wireless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
On any size stage, you'll always use a wire.
Any size.
I mean, within reason.
I have wireless. It's still brand new because it changed the tone of my bass. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like it. And in-ears, very few engineers can get the sound right that's coming from that bass rig.
Yep.
Agreed.
Very few engineers.
Yeah.
And I've been blessed to work with a couple that has gotten it right, but it takes a while.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
to reproduce that sound so your in-ears sound like it. And we consider ourselves to have some of the best in-ears there is on the market. But if that engineer doesn't know the true sound of what you're looking for coming from your your Ampeg rig, it's gonna be
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Yannick said it last week too. A bad in-ear mix is way worse than a bad floor monitor mix.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it'll physically do damage to your ears if you're not careful.
Exactly. And the floor wedge, you actually can take everything else in your floor wedge and just take the bass out and use your rig.
Yes. Yep.
Balance is out. But in-ears, you have to have your bass in your ears.
That's right.
And before I was using in-ears with ambience, but it still wasn't true. It still wasn't a thing for me.
Yeah.
But it's so there's certain things. And my bottom bunk, Dino, just to make sure, it's a condo bunk. So it's just two. It's this condo. You have the high and the low.
Okay.
I can sit up in my bunk. Sometime and I can play. So So
guys of our age, we usually pick the bottom bunk in the aisle seat because it's the closest to the bathroom. I'm just gonna say that there.
No, I don't want to be trapped in the corner.
Yeah.
I like to have the aisle seat, and sometimes I just press that button underneath that armrest and lift it up and
press
my legs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
That window seat.
Yeah, hot chocolate or coffee? Hot chocolate. I'm just saying.
Another good question. All right,
we're gonna add that.
Yeah, this is gonna get interesting.
Lobster or shrimp? Lobster.
Lobster or oyster?
All right. So actually, I was asking this question for a while here too, and I know we're way over time here, but the other question was, and I stopped asking it for some reason because I never wrote it down here. But Dom, favorite place to eat when you're on the road? Other than Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion.
That's tough.
Dom?
Man, I'm thinking. Such a foodie. This is hard for me.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, for me, sometimes I cook on the road. We got a tour kitchen.
Oh, okay.
We got a tour kitchen, and sometimes we cook. But one of my favorite comfort food on the road for the last maybe 5-6 years Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I
yeah,
thought you were gonna say, I thought you were gonna say Patty.
Definitely a Jamaican restaurant. Jamaican restaurant is gonna be the first thing, because I will search out the Jamaican restaurant, and if it says Caribbean, no,
Oh, really?
no,
it's very
Caribbean
different.
is not it.
Okay.
It very rare you find a Jamaican restaurant that the name of it is Caribbean Kitchen or Caribbean
Yeah.
Cafe.
Right.
No, it has to say Jamaican.
Jamaica.
And then when I go inside there, I gotta hear patois.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't want to hear, oh, wagwan, man. No. That's not my language. No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And it has to smell right, and I have to look at the menu. And I will try the food too. I will like, can I taste that? And they say yes. But
Yeah.
oh yeah,
It's like me going into a Mediterranean restaurant instead of a Greek restaurant. Just saying.
yeah.
I'm a sucker for a first watch breakfast in any city if it's there, because they have this drink that's incredible. It's called the morning meditation or something like that, and it's like after touring and singing, whatever. It's great for your voice. It's got all these healthy things in it, so that's one staple. I don't know if that's like the go-to, but mine's per city, so I don't know. It'd be tough.
Yeah.
Kombucha does it for us. So
Kombucha.
if the kombucha people are listening, yeah, we take comments too. Yeah.
Well,
we love kombucha, man. It's good for you.
Yeah.
Probiotic and kombucha is just
nice.
I think he turned us on to that, and from ever since we've been doing it.
On the kombucha. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, man, Pablo, am I going to see you at NAMM?
Oh, definitely.
All right.
Well, when is NAMM this year, by the way?
Like second to last week in January, I think it is.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
But check out our website. Check out our We Are Tomorrow Foundation, because we're really trying to step it up more and do more for our youths. Encourage them more. So that's the path that we're on right now. Just pushing as much as we can now for my entire family and I. Like I said, this weekend was just remarkable, and it takes us, contribute and change some lives, man.
Yep. And
it's not a money thing. Sometimes it's just conversation or just an encouraging words,
Yeah.
So these kids can use more, you know what I mean? But we as musicians, we have a responsibility to give back to some of these youths who just look up to us, but they don't have no way or means just to even get an acoustic guitar. And I can't thank Dino enough, man, for supporting We Are Tomorrow Foundation from conception. So thank you.
We have to do more.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. No, we have to do more. And a very well-deserved award.
Yeah.
Humanitarian award.
Dino, we talk about trying to do something with Yama to do that stuff coming up next year, 2025, for mental health.
Yes.
We've spoken about that,
Yep. We'll talk more about that too.
They need us. We can
Yep.
change some lives, man. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, Pablo, thank you. So this has been way too long coming. This is I forgot to say it too. This is episode 73 that we're doing.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
we've done 73 of these, and we'll keep doing them until they throw us out. Thank you, Pablo, Aaron, for putting this all together in the background, Haji for being in the background as well, and of course everybody for watching. I see a lot of this, a lot of the regulars are here today. Paul, I know I'm going to butcher the name again, so I apologize. Raichu? I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but anyways, thank you for watching. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm not sure who's going to be here. I know we have Vincent Garcia coming up in another couple of episodes, but just keep on checking Facebook and Instagram and Ampeg.com, of course. And we'll see some more guys. All right. See you later, guys. And man, have a great week.
Love you, Dino. Down.
Thank you so much.
Again, man. Yeah.